Welcome everybody back to the Philly 4 pod. It's the first time in a while I have done this. Today we'll be looking at the Phillies in their playoffs. They clinched it at least last night, late at night. Back and forth game against the Dodgers. But there is still meaningful games to go. The Philadelphia Eagles are 2-0. They beat Kansas City and Dallas. We'll talk about everything from the defensive problems at cornerback 2 to the passing offense not looking quite right. Then we'll move on to the Philadelphia Flyers, and we'll be focusing on their goaltending today with the recent trade and recent news of former Flyers goalie Carter Hart. And then lastly, if we get to it, we'll talk about the Sixers and Quentin Grimes and that whole situation. But let's get right into the Philadelphia Phillies. Obviously, they're the talk of the town right now as they are heading into October looking really, really, really good. Phillies are the second seed in the NL as it stands 3:24 p.m. at on September 16th. They play tonight at 10:10 in LA against the Dodgers, just like they did last night. Now, I want to touch on the game last night before I talk about the matchups I want to see, before I pull up the playoff bracket and talk all about their matchups or seeing what I want them to do, what I want to see. The game last night I stayed up for. Whether that was a good decision, whether that was a bad decision, whether I should have probably went to bed, I stayed up. It was a very back and forth game. The game started with a Kyle Schwarber home run. It was a really, really hard ball to get to. I was shocked he got to it, but I mean, Kyle Schwarber is now 5 home runs away from 58, which is Ryan Howard's record for Phillies in a single season, and I would love to see him get that. Not saying he will. It's going to be very hard. They have 11 games here to wrap up the season. And I mean, he's had a year where he's one of the guys. But this game wasn't just about the big guys, though. He contributed. Harper contributed. There's a lot of guys that were, your big guys that you pay a lot of money for, contributed. And then the Dodgers, who came in, brought in the guy that was originally going to start because it was more of a bullpen game for them, and they have a lot of lefties in that bullpen. There's something I noticed, at least last night. It ended up going to extra innings, and but after that, solo shot. Next scoring was a RBI sac fly to center for Mookie Betts, and he's had a down year, but he has been getting hot recently, and that's a problem for the Phillies and for the NL if we should face them in the playoffs, because that's what it's looking like in the playoff picture, and that's why this game was so big, because this could very well be like a preview in October. So we'll get to that, and we'll get to the matchups, obviously. But and then the bottom of the fifth, Max Muncy solo shot. It was a 400-foot no doubter. I mean, it was a pitch from Ranger that I thought was like he kind of left it out there for him. Ranger pitched 6 innings, 7 hits, 3 earned runs, 5 strikeouts, 2 walks, and 1 home run. Not the best. Like, he didn't go out there and shove, but he didn't go out there and lose you the game. That's all you can ask him for. Though I don't love the 3 earned runs. If he can just get a few good starts, though, in these 11 games, whenever he gets a chance and he pitches okay, like last night, I'm not too worried about it because, I mean, you didn't watch him pitch last night and felt like, ew, he pitched horrible like you do with some other pitchers, like Aaron Nola. You don't get that. You didn't get that sense last night. I didn't get that sense last night, at the very least. So yeah. Phillies had 2 pitchers that blew saves, one being Orion Kirkering somehow. I'm not sure. He came in and pitched the 8th, the 7th. I'm just really not sure how that works. I don't know. I'm not a stats guy. And Johan Duran came in and blew the saves, and we'll get to that. And then after the Max Muncy shot, it was another sac fly for Mookie Betts, making it 3-1 Dodgers. And at this point, it kind of felt like it's not over just because the home run he gave up was a solo shot, but like it didn't feel like very positive. It was like, Mookie Betts is kind of killing us right now. But then you go to the top of the 7th, and Stott, who is a guy you need to contribute. He's one of those guys that, he's been here for a little core. Like, he's been part of this core for a little bit since 2022. He hasn't. He's not getting paid the $300 million that Schwarber's going to be paid, or the $300 million Harper is already being paid, right? Or whatever. Or Castellanos, who gets paid a decent amount now, and a guy who can contribute at times. But it's not one run single just right to center field. It scored Otto Kemp, who got to third. I believe he stole second. It got moved over somehow. Oh yes, move over with like a no, I don't know, button or something. I'm not sure. I don't remember. It was late. But then in the top of the seventh, Weston Wilson steps up to bat with Stott on, and three pitches to the at bat. I'm a Weston Wilson hater. I don't like him. He is not good. I really don't think he's all that good. He had that cycle once 2 years ago. I think that's really kept him on the team for a while. But he steps up to play, takes two balls, two good takes up high, and then he gets something right out over the plate, and he crushes it 417, and it's a home run to center field. Phillies are up 4-3, and this is where this game starts really being like, oh my god, what is happening? As the next inning, Mookie Betts had a solo shot to left center, and he's just killing us off of Ryan Kerkering to tie the game. And then Harper came back right with another counterpunch right to the faces of the LA Dodgers with a 396-foot home run to center field to make it 5-4 your Philadelphia Phillies. And then Andrew Pages steps up to bat against Joe Hunteron, who has already gotten it out. And Duran got a strike to start off with a splitter that was pretty nasty. He got a foul ball. And the pitch that Duran threw to give up this home run was horrible. And you could tell immediately that was gone. It was a no doubter. Like it was like in an instant you're like, oh, this game's tied. Duran just blew that save. And it was really defeating. It sucked, and all credit for this team to bounce back, but that's not an easy thing to do, to bounce back like that after your closer, who is shut down, who is that guy, gives a home run on a very, very much handing knuckle curve. It was literally middle on real. You see that little blue dot? Yeah, that was that pitch. It was a very, very much of a hanger. It happens, right? Like you can't be perfect every time you go out there and pitch. Yeah, I'm not worried about him at all because he only gave up that one run. And then in extra innings in the top of the 10th, JT Realmuto, after Bader stole third and Harper stole second after he got on, they both double stole and got safe because of a wild pitch or whatever. And then, he hit a RBI sac fly right to right field, and Bader tagged up, Harper tagged up, Harper moved to third, Bader scored the winning run. And then it was honestly somewhat poetic because David Robertson came in and he shut the door on the Dodgers, going 1, 2, no, he didn't go 1, 2, 3, did he? Whatever. He took him down, and it was kind of poetic just because he's been here. Like, this is his third time being a Philly, right? Like, I love that. I love when a story like that kind of unfolds. Like, this is the first time they've clinched the division for back-to-back years since 2010 and 2011. I mean, there's not really much more to say just because it was such a ridiculous game. I kind of covered it, but like, as a fan, you love watching the celebration after the game, seeing them all partying, doing the funnel. Garrett Stubbs, who damn well knows he has to catch tonight, hungover as hell. But it's always fun, actually, Tom McCarthy asked Aaron Nola, "Does this ever get old?" He said, "No." Like, for my first 7 years of playing baseball for this organization, Nola never got the chance to celebrate anything because they were bad. So that's why you gotta appreciate this this era of Phillies baseball. Whether or not I hope they win a ring, but even if they don't, I mean, you gotta appreciate it. For 9 years after 2011, we finally made the playoffs in 2022, and now it's kind of a footnote. We used to pray for that. Like, we used to be like, oh, I wish this team would finally just make the playoffs, and they did in 22. But now we're at the point this team's so good and so consistent that the playoffs and clinching the playoffs is just a footnote. Like that's not the ultimate goal. The division's not even the ultimate goal at this point. The ultimate goal at this point is to win a World Series. You know what I mean? And if you told someone that in 2021, you'd be like, let's just make the playoffs first. I mean, I appreciate the hell out of this team. They're a great team. I love this team. This team's so much different. And one point I want to make is that people are going to worry, especially with how we had the bye last year, and it's looking like we're going to have the bye this year. This is where I'm going to start getting into seeding. People are going to be like, oh, but you had the bye last year and you stunk it up against the Mets. Well, one, the Mets of last year are not the Mets of this year. And the Phillies of last year are not the Phillies of this year. This year, the feeling going into the playoffs last year versus this year is a world of difference. World of difference. I couldn't feel more different about that. About how I feel going into the offs versus what I felt last year. Last year, I was obviously like a little bit positive just because I'm always going to be that. Like in 2022, when they made it for the first time in my life, first time in my being coherent and watching them and actually loving them life, I picked them to go to World Series. Like I know they probably won't, but they did. So I'll always be a little bit positive for my teams, but this year I'm like really confident. Like I think they're going to win the World Series. Like did I legit think they're gonna win the World Series in 2022? No. Did they have a chance? I didn't think they were actually gonna do it, but then they got there. And then the year after I was legitimately confident. Last year, coming into the playoffs, I didn't feel too confident. I didn't. And it showed. And it showed when they got there. This team's not gonna do that. And you can see it from what JT said when during their celebration, they obviously asked JT, oh, how many more do we got, JT? Usually says 16 more topper or whatever, and they all spray the champagne on them. But one thing I want to point out is that instead of saying however many more wins they have, like 16 or whatever, or 11 to whatever it is, he said whatever the hell it takes. And that's something I think this whole team has. And credit to Dave Dombrowski for bringing in the guys he brought in at the trade deadline. Prove me wrong. Shut me up. I was totally wrong. I said, oh, if Harrison Bader's your big bat acquisition, it's not going to go great. Well, it went great. I was wrong. Johan Duran, I was even excited for that at the time, but he's really been great. And Dave Robinson, obviously we didn't trade for him, but he was around that time where I kind of count him as a half deadline acquisition. He's been pitching well. And I something about this team feels different than last year. Something feels different, whether it's Bader, whether it's the vibes, whether it's the fact that they're better. And maybe it's the fact that they're all okay. They're like, oh, wheels went down. Doesn't matter. We'll still play great baseball. Trey Turner goes down. Alec Bohm goes down again. Oh no! What do? They go 9-1 in their last 10. Let that silence speak. There's nothing more to say. This team's really good, and I think they will win the World Series. No matter who they're against, I feel confident. In a playoff series, if we're playing the Mets, the Dodgers, the Brewers, the Cubs, the Padres, the Yankees in the World Series, the Red Sox, the Tigers, no matter who it is, I feel confident in this team. And that's not something I would say last year. It's not. This team's damn good. But by be damned. I think they got that down and they're going to be fine. And seeding wise, they're only, I think, 3 games out of the first seed, which would be huge. Because, like Kyle Schwarber said, this home field advantage that we have with our fans, it's huge. If they could get home field advantage for the entire playoffs, it would be so big. The Phillies are currently sitting at 90-61. The Milwaukee Brewers are sitting at 91-59. So only 1 game out. So we would need the Brewers to lose 1 or 2 in a row, and us to win 2 in a row, and we'd be the first seed. And if the Phillies win tonight, the magic number, or if they win one more game in LA in this series, the magic number to clinch a top 2 seed would move from 11 to 4. That would be huge because the home field advantage. And also, like, do you really want to have to wait for the winner of? Do you want to really have to wait for the winner of Dodgers versus Mets? I'm fine with playing anyone. Like if you look at the bracket, the way it has it, the way the MLB does their bracket. Let me pull it up. Sorry, I'm professional here. Like you gotta look at it. You're gonna play a good team no matter what. Baseball's hard, man. That's something about baseball I love is how they celebrate every little victory, every win they have, like clinching the division, for example. Um, winning a series, you celebrate like you really accomplished something because you did. Play 162 plus games, all for an ultimate goal. That's why baseball's so great. They celebrate, they cherish it. It's a long season. You finally did it. Finally clinched the division after that was a goal. Finally made the playoffs. And the playoffs are not easy. Like, look at this bracket. Let me share screen. Bam. Okay, whatever. So, you see here the postseason look at the potential matchups the Philadelphia Phillies can play. And there's a lot of interesting things you look at when they're obviously this could flip. This is if it started now. But would you rather wait for the winner of Mets and Dodgers, or would you rather play one of Cubs and Padres? Because you're not gonna get an easy matchup. Hell, if you look through the entirety of the playoffs, AL and NL, there's not a bad team in this playoff. Astros definitely not a bad team. Mariners not a bad team. Red Sox not a bad team. Yankees not a bad team. Blue Jays not a bad team. Tigers are falling off a little bit, but they're not a bad team. Mets, they're different. Okay? They're a bad team that plays well at Citi Field against the Phillies. That's the only reason I'm even a little bit scared of them. Dodgers, great team. Phillies, great team. Padres, good team. Cubs, good team. Brewers, good team. So you're not going to get some, easy, blow by matchup. You're just not. Well, you got to, in my opinion, this is the way I look at it. You have to stay as one of the top 2. Well, really, when it gets down to it, I don't care which seed they are. I think I'd rather them just be the first seed for the fact of them having home field advantage until at least the World Series. You know what I mean? Like, I think that outweighs the matchups. Because this team's good enough to beat literally everyone in this picture. And yes, that includes, like, the Astros and the Mariners and the Red Sox. And I think the Yankees aren't good, so I'm not going to include them in that. But they're still a good team. So when it gets down to it, it just really depends on your feel. I think actually scratch it. It gets down to, do you value an easier matchup potentially with the Mets beating the Dodgers, or not having to guaranteed play a really really solid team, or do you value the home field advantage? I value the home field advantage a hell of a lot more. But I mean, hey, I think they can win any playoff matchup they get. Now let's go. As we are, like 20 minutes into this now, and that's usually like where I like to end it, but I'll try to be quick. Probably not going to get the Sixers today, so if you came here for Wayne Grimes talk, probably not going to happen. Stay tuned, though. Might still happen. Philadelphia Eagles beat the Kansas City Chiefs no, not last night. Actually, no, 2 nights ago. Sunday afternoon. And it was an ugly, ugly win, but they won. And the Eagles have become this team where if you make mistakes against them, you're done. But the one thing, and this is really all I really need to talk about with this win, everyone else knows it. The passing offense is atrocious. Atrocious. There's no creativity out there. None at all. There's just not. I mean, like, there's no one open. at all. Like, it's concerning because it's making me think Kevin Patullo is, the reincarnation of Brian Johnson, and that's not what you want to hear. And honestly, it's concerning on multiple levels then, because then you're like, okay. Then when people start realizing you don't have the creativity to get all this talent open, what are they going to do to Saquon? Now, they're going to take him away then. Like, let us share the screen yet again. Okay. Share the screen to the highlights of the game, and we will try to break this down as much as we can with the angles we are going to be provided. Right here, you see Jalen Hurts looking for passes, 3rd and 8. To go back a little bit, this is the fumble. This is early in the game. Stop right here. The look, 3 seconds left, he snaps the ball. Seems like a deeper route here. He's going to get his guy, AJ. But like it kind of seems a little bit mirrored, if anything. This is at the top of his drop. AJ is still fighting. These guys haven't even really broke yet. He's the most open. This is one of the very few plays where they actually get a talented receiver open. But even then, there's still no creativity because he hitched. He broke. And then if we try to go back, let's watch Smitty. Where'd Smitty go? He hitched too. So where's the creativity in that play call, Kevin? Right here. He's going to break out. He's going to come over here and essentially just do an out route. Same thing over here. It's a mirrored play call. Look, it's a legit mirrored play call, except he goes up a little more. And tush push, whatever. Another passing situation. Refs, whatever. Point something out. And this weird looking defense, obviously, Spags always has. See what this one looks like. This is all on the fly. Okay. 3 break in. No short. It doesn't look like it's going to be a little slant or a little in route. He breaks in. They're all going. Bam. So that means at the top of Hurts' drop, all he sees is an open Smitty on a break. And that's not good enough for this offense. And the defense does their job. Right here. Like, let's watch this. Okay. Another look. Similar look is what the Chiefs have been giving you. Many motions. Okay. Short route here. King's obviously going out. He's backpedaling. 2 guys here, well, at least one of them's going to drop back with them, and they do. Hurts looks right here, so it's almost as if this play design is for that deep ball. And if so, that's not the very best play call for a deep shot you could ever draw up. He's pretty bagged. He's bagged. He's bagged, and I can't see the other receiver over there. It really gives him no options to go with the ball and a totally open receiver. It just doesn't. Bucker misses the field goal. Right here. This is Brian Johnson 101 right here. A look. Very obvious screen look as well. 2nd and 6. The Eagles, at least from my memory, it feels like almost never, ever ran any screen concept at all. So why is that the fact here? 2nd and 6. Here's how creative this guy's going to get. A little motion by Mechie, and then bam, just a little screen. Not the worst look ever, but let's see how this plays out. That's the receiver making the play. 1st and 10, look, a little handoff. Fine. He scores a tutty. Fine. Okay? But at some point, that's going to be taken away. Right here. Let's watch this one. Hurts. I can't see the down for some reason. Fox. What are we doing? But whatever. Hurts here. There's a very opposite, bunchy, kind of very squished together passing concept there. These 2 break. This guy, I think that's AJ, correct? It doesn't look like a very creative passing concept. So what does Hurts do? Check down Saquon Barkley, because if you look, very much looks like he's running into someone dropping back, or he's going to drop back. The linebacker drops with him, make sure the corner stays. Dotson drops. He's locked up. Now let's watch AJ and Calcaterra. And also, disclaimer, they also did have Dallas Gardner, but with this good of a team, that shouldn't really affect you too much. They're both breaking. This guy goes on to him. He's fighting. So what Hurts sees is a bad curl here, a battle between AJ and a very close corner, someone dropping back with the tight end Calcaterra over here, and someone dropping back here and bagging him. So he has to dump it off with Saquon Barkley because there's no one open. And Barkley does what Barkley does and gets yards and steps out of bounds. But like, where's the creativity in that? Where is that going to get you? That's not gonna, you know, sustain your offense for a long period of time over the season. This is one of the looks I'm running actually. 1st and 10, very obvious pass scenario. At least it looks as so. Snaps it. Jay breaks. He breaks. He breaks. He breaks. Normal. And AJ again is in a tangle aggressive route with him. Slants in. But by the time that all develops, Hurts is on the run. And he has to take it further on. So they need to, one, get way more creative with the passing options, and two, start scheming something up that kind of develops quicker. See, like this. This is fine. This is fine. 2nd and 10, he looks back for the call. Takes a snap, looks right away. He's open. Bam. That's how you take care of that scenario right there. That's fine. Not creative, but it gets you in a good scenario. 2nd and 3. Hurts gets, and they're passing here. It's a very weird look, I'll say. So they're breaking, like, receivers do. But even then, what is this concept? What is this? What is this play call? There's a guy here, and AJ probably has inside leverage, so he probably gets this here. He slips. Still, I mean, if he doesn't slip and he gets that, there's a good chance he breaks that up. He's back. He's back. He's back. You got lucky with AJ making that catch, and whatever. Right here, 3rd and 9, empty backfield. Let's see what happens. And he's going in the corner right here. AJ's breaking here. He's breaking this whole scenario. He has to dump it off quick. So there's not a lot of stuff that develops very quickly in this passing offense, which I know. A lot about that offense that they need to fix, and they need to fix it now. Another problem is Adoree Jackson. Adoree Jackson is a problem. He can't cover. Doesn't look like he can cover right now with the best of them. He doesn't. I'll say it. So to me, they got rid of Slay and all these guys because they believed they won Keely Ringo and brought Jackson in as like a veteran. Whatever. Well, it hasn't worked out, and you also brought in Ja'Cory Bennett. Well, they haven't really given Bennett much of a look. He's looked good when he's in, at least in my eyes. Jackson's looked okay. He's settled in later in games, but still pretty unacceptable. And Keely Ringo looks unplayable. Another problem they have on the, and what I would do there is as fast as you can get Ja'Cory Bennett into this defense, because what I saw from him in LA, in Vegas, I keep doing that. I really loved. He has all the techniques. He has speed. He is technical. He's very, very smart. Very, very good corner. Another problem is what to do when Nakobe Dean gets back. When Nakobe Dean gets back, I think after week 4 it will be. You have a problem because Jahan Campbell is playing at his spot and splitting some reps with Jeremiah Trotter. But it's been mostly Campbell. As a Trotter guy, it does hurt to say. But what do you do when a guy like Nakobe Dean, because you can't sit Nakobe Dean. He was great for you last year. He had a billion tackles, it feels like. So what I would do is move Campbell to the edge and whatever, and But I mean, we'll see. That's a problem. Truthfully, is a problem for the Eagles. They have a lot to pan out. They're still 2-0. I'll give them their credit, and I love this team. I mean, it still looks good. Still don't think there's a team better than us right now until we lose. Next, let's go to the Philadelphia Flyers quickly and their goaltending before we end this episode, which is going to go a little bit over what I liked to do, but the Phillies talk really did go long. Earlier in the week, the Philadelphia Flyers traded Ivan Fedotov to Columbus, clearing $3.275 million in cap space, which would have been perfect for one Carter Hart, but whatever. He's not coming back. He wants a fresh start. Whatever. I get it, Hart, but whatever. We'll get into that last. And they got a 6th-round pick for him, but it was mostly salary dump and then anything. And Columbus needed a third goaltender. because I did have that guy that they were like, oh, someone got hurt or someone sucks. At least we have a third goalie to bring up from the A. They didn't have that. We had two of those guys in Fedotov and Kolosov. So they decided to trade Fedotov away. He wasn't very good last year. Hey, good luck in Columbus. Love you. You're fun to watch or whatever, but he's not that very good. He's not a very good goaltender. He's not. And I think it comes down to there's too many spots for. There's too little spots for too many guys. Because right now, what you are doing is you're saying, okay, AHL goaltenders will be Kolosov and Bjarnason. And you can't have Bjarnason be your three because you don't want him to develop, development wise. And you don't want to have three goalies at any level because they would have killed Kolosov, who's still young, and Carson Bjarnason's development. Because, splitting reps of a 28-year-old Ivan Fedotov probably would have helped. And also, the NHL goalies, Dan Vladar and Sam Erston, that would have killed them because it's so hard to hold three goalies anywhere. Between practices and game time and what it could do mentally to the guys. Like, you know what I mean? Like, it's just hard to do, and they had to trade them away. But what I want to say is about the Flyers goaltending. I'll definitely go more in depth about this on the show a little later, closer to the season. Is all I need the Flyers goaltending to do right now. Just don't be the worst ever. That's what you were last year. Last year, that was the worst goaltending to ever be played in the NHL. I've never seen goaltending worse. I probably never will. As long as you're okay, I think this team makes the playoffs. Because I'll break down what I think will happen with a bunch of forwards and a bunch of question marks. But this goaltending is the one thing that's holding them back. Is their biggest weakness. If a bigger weakness than the worst power play ever. But we got a little bit of disappointing news today for those believers, and maybe bring Hart back and you fix that. So Carter Hart is available to sign October 15th and eligible to play December 1st. It was reported today by one Dana Breer that his agent did reach out, and his agent did say Hart wants a fresh start. So a return to Philadelphia seems very, very unlikely. Fine, I get it. He probably wants to get away from every little part of his life that at least for now, that involved this situation. And he doesn't own the Flyers or anything, but you know who really got screwed in all this? The Flyers. The Flyers got, fucked. They did. The Flyers got screwed over here by the NHL because why wouldn't you say, hey, Carter, you were a free agent for the Flyers that year you got taken away. You were their franchise goalie. You were the franchise's franchise goalie. So why wouldn't you just say, okay, the situation is going to be Hart, you are a free agent, but you're a restricted free agent, and Philly still has your rights. So that way, even if the Flyers don't want to sign him, or Hart is like, I'd rather fresh start, and they respect that, they can still get something out of him, trading him to a Carolina or a Pittsburgh or wherever he's going to go, instead of just being like, oh, we just lost our franchise goalie after 2.5 years of wondering. Like, why? Why not? Because that way either the Flyers can sign him back and have those rights, have that advantage for him, or can get something out of his value that you weren't able to because he got detained by Russian government. It's insane. Insane. But yeah, I mean he's gonna be very, very good. I think he's gonna go to Carolina on like a 2-year $3.5 million average. Nothing crazy, but I think he's gonna be very, very good for them. And I think that's a move that the Carolina should do. And one bold prediction for the Philadelphia Flyers is that I think the goaltending is going to be good regardless. I think Sam Erston sucks. I think Dan Vladar is going to be really, really good. Some about him I like. But that is all the time I have for you here on the Philly 4 Pod. Like, subscribe, keep watching. I'm going to try to keep these up as weekly as possible as we head into basketball season, hockey season, football continues, and obviously Red October. God bless. Go Phils. Have a great day.